First, I want to outline kind of the main roles in a video game company. So there's producers. These are the people that basically run the projects, manage the teams. Now you have internal, external producers. External producers are the people that work for like large publishing corporations, and they kind of manage smaller teams. Now, an internal producer will work with the designers, artists, programmers, level designers, and sound engineers to help produce a game, okay? Designers are basically people that will come up with gameplay, mechanics, design like how a game operates, what will happen. They define the game, basically. What is the game about? What does it contain? Artists are the people that you see like drawing any kind of like basic content, like could be anything from drawing 2D content to developing 3D content, any kind of very artistic role within a game company, okay? Now programmers are people dedicated to programming, obviously. Spend most of their time sitting behind a computer writing code. And they kind of bring all the assets that the artists create together into a cohesive game. And they'll actually create what the designers specify in the game, like how the game's going to operate, what's going to happen, what the characters do. They define all this through programming. Level designers are pretty specific to designing the levels only, basically. They design like how the levels look, deliver those assets to the programmers to load into the game. And sound engineers, obviously, you know, spend most of their time developing sounds, audio, Foley kind of stuff. So those are, in a very basic, quick, high-level view, these are some of the basic roles within a game company. Now, in a smaller company, you might kind of wear a couple different hats and do some different things, but for the most part, these are the main roles within a video game company. And most important thing is figure out what you're good at, basically. If you're an artist, you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to program if that bores you to tears. What I want to talk about is what is a technical artist. Now, a technical artist is somebody who is a little bit of both, which I think is an important skill set, because even if you're a very traditional artist, it's important for you to like understand on a basic level, even if you're not a whiz-bang programmer, it's important to kind of understand a little bit of how programming works and how it's implemented in a pipeline, so that if you're an artist, you're going to end up working with these people, and you need to like have some kind of common ground. So it helps to, even if you're a traditional artist, to have some kind of understanding about what the programmers are doing, and vice versa. If you're a programmer, you should take a little time, understand what the artists are doing, so that you guys can communicate properly, you know? Technical artists kind of fall in that in-between section, people who are designers, artists, who also know some programming. And I think that's a really valuable skill set, because it makes you more useful. You're kind of you can wear more hats, you can do more things, you can relate better with the programmers and the artists than somebody who is specifically one of those disciplines. These are some of the programming languages that you might find useful if you're going to start getting into the video game industry. C++ is pretty important. Boo is another programming language that you may not heard of that we use in Unity. So is C# or .NET. You know, it's basically the same thing. And scripting languages include Python, Lua, and JavaScript. Probably you've heard of JavaScript. Anybody? Yeah. So Lua you might not have heard of, but it's used pretty commonly. I think it's in some of the sim games. It's definitely used in World of Warcraft. And Python's another scripting language. So it's not, you don't have to learn all of these languages. In fact, you know, if you learn, you know, let's say you sit down and decide you want to learn programming. If you learn C++, it's sort of like learning any kind of, if you learn Spanish, it's a little easier to learn French. It's a little easier as you learn one language, it makes it easier to kind of port that knowledge over to a different language. So if you learn C++ or if you learn C#, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to step over to another language, because you kind of understand the basic functionality of languages and variables and functions and how they operate. And there may be some little differences in syntax and how things are written, but it's going to help you just to learn some kind of programming language. Even if it's only, if you learn JavaScript, for instance, it's going to make your life a lot easier when you try and learn C++ or C#. How do you get a job in the game industry? It's really, your portfolio is the most important thing you can rely on. Treat it like it's a job. Always work on it. What is the next thing you can add to your portfolio to really make you stand out in the crowd? And education's important, but a really amazing portfolio showing what you can do is going to really help sell you in the end. Another important thing is just make cool stuff. Constantly make cool stuff. And that goes back to portfolio, treating it like a job. Always work on building great, interesting, creative things that you can show your talent off with. You know, a lot of games nowadays, they'll ship with tools for making mods and customizing characters. So you can take any video game. Most of them come with these tools. You can make a mod or make your own custom level built with their tools and then show it off without having to purchase software and whatnot. And another thing that I think is really important is to be critical of your own work. Too often I meet people who are like, oh, I just made this great thing. It's so awesome. Look at it. It's awesome. No, it's probably cool. It's great you did it, but always be critical of your own work and put it out there and like listen to what people have to say, because in the end it'll make you a better artist. You know, listen to anybody who has any constructive criticism and then take that, absorb it, and then the next time you build something, use that knowledge to make a better piece. Networking, of course, is critical. With your friends, people on LinkedIn, just network with whoever you know that's in the game industry or people you don't know that are in the game industry. You'll find that these people are generally really friendly and really cool, people like Tom. And they'll help you get where you want to be with your career. Be creative and original. Stand out from the crowd. This is nothing new to any of you, I'm sure. Learn a language like C++, then learn Japanese. That's just kind of my funny little joke because Japanese are really into video games, so it can't hurt, right? And like I said, if you're an artist, you shouldn't spend a lot of your time like beating your head against the wall trying to learn coding if that's not what you want to do. But get the basics down so that when you end up as an artist at a video game company, you can relate with the programmers and explain and understand what's going on with their part of the work, you know? Play lots of games, but don't neglect to absorb knowledge from all other areas of life, like art, film, music, books. All these things are going to contribute to your ability to deliver like interesting stuff, you know? Be a well-rounded individual, and your creative will shoot through the roof, I think, and I believe that firmly. And the last thing I want to leave you with is raw talent is way more important than what software you use or what tool you use. So the first thing people are going to ask you is, oh, did you use 3D Studio Max? Or did you use Maya? Or did you use Lightwave? Or what have you? In the end, does it look awesome? It doesn't matter what you use. You could have used a free tool like Blender. It doesn't matter. As long as you know how to make something that looks gorgeous and is awesome, then it's just a menu. It's just a different menu somewhere in a different program. So don't get hung up on the tools and the software. Use whatever you can get your hands on and build something really awesome. And then, you know, the software is secondary, I think, to the concepts and the raw things that really make you a great artist. And last, I have a couple links here. First, the Unity 3D site, great site, free tool for building video games. You can't beat that. Second, we have the Unity3D.com/Unite. That's a conference that is held every year to kind of unite Unity developers together. Unified Community is a great kind of hub for free scripts to do all kinds of different stuff. Like everybody in the community will upload their scripts. You can download all kinds of really cool tools for building games and doing things. They're all free and they're all up on the web. This next link is just a free link for the Visual Studio Express software. This one here is actually pretty funny. This is TK409 getting a job. This is a developer who got a job by dressing up as a stormtrooper and going into an agency. And I'm not going to recommend that for everybody, but it worked for him. You know, it set him apart from the crowd. They could see he was passionate about what he wanted to do. The next link, this link here is great for anybody who wants to learn programming. Some great resources for learning any kind of programming. Nauman Workshop is another great place to get tutorials on how to build all kinds of 3D content. Whether you're going to go into the film industry or visual effects or animation or video games, just tons and tons of great videos and tutorials there. And then we have 3D Buzz, more tutorials, great stuff. Game Career Guide, getting started, just gives you some basic like links on If you're really interested in getting in the video game industry, this will point you in the right direction, kind of give you what you need to know. And then there's the Game Developers Conference, which is just a great, fun conference. It's held every year. You can go to and be surrounded by other people who want to get into the industry and are already in the industry. And so let's get Tom up here, because he's got some really great stuff to share with you guys, too.